Hello, and welcome to the beginning of my course on openings. If you are new to chess, I recommend you do my course from beginner to winner first, and then come back to do this course on openings. Let's get started. Even after the first 4 moves, there are 988 million possibilities, and every game is different. So how do you know what to play at the beginning of a game? How do you pick out a good move amongst countless others? This course teaches you the best moves to play, whether you're white or black. The opening principles. In order to help you get a good position, there are some opening principles to follow. Control the centre, put pawns in the centre, and don't allow your opponent to take over the centre. This gives you control over the whole position. Get your pieces out. Move the knights towards the centre, the bishops on long diagonals, and the queen on the second or third rank, where it is safe, but ready to join the action if needed. Protect the king and connect the rooks. The best way to do this is to castle. This whisks your king away into the corner, where it's hard to get to, and allows the rooks to get to the centre. Put your rooks on open files, or files that are likely to open. The centre often opens up and is a good place to put your rooks. Don't move a piece more than once in the opening, as it wastes a move that could have been used to develop a piece. Sometimes you have to move a piece, move a piece twice, which is okay, but try to move it to a good square, or move it with a tempo. A tempo is where you threaten your opponent with your move, and if you move with a tempo, your opponent has to waste a move defending the threat, so you both lose out on opening, so it doesn't really matter. Openings. White goes first in a game of chess, so it has an advantage as they can get at their pieces out quicker, but black can try to outdevelop white or set up traps. The most popular openings, and the strongest openings, involve moving pawns into the centre, control the centre and create pathways which the pieces can use to get out. I am now going to show you some openings, and what the best move to play is if you're white or black. Okay, so this is the king's pawn opening. It pushes the pawn to control the centre and allows the bishop and queen to get out. As you can see, they have diagonals which they can use to get out. Black does the same, tries to control the centre and allows his queen and bishop to get out. Knight f3. White develops a piece to a square where it attacks the centre, and black does the same, also developing a piece where it attacks the centre. Now both of white's knights are controlling the centre, and black does the same. This is called the four knights game. Both players will push pawns to control the centre and have developed their knights to squares where they attack the centre. Both players are ready to move their bishops. So there are 2 moves in this position which you can play. One of them's a good move, one of them's a bad move. We'll do the good move first. This is called the Spanish variation. It develops the bishop and attacks the knight. Although it seems that white's only threatening a swap, they're actually threatening to win the pawn on e5 over here. White wants to take the black knight. Then, when black takes back, white can play knight takes e5, which wins the pawn over here. Black, however, can just ignore this, as he has a trick up his sleeve to win back the pawn. And so black can just play a very sneaky move, ignoring the threats, and he can play bishop to c5, completely ignoring the fact that white's threatening to win a pawn, and just developing a piece instead. But black has a way of winning back the pawn, as I said before. So if white does go ahead and plays bishop takes c6, and he thinks he's won a pawn, but really you shouldn't play this move if you're in this position. You should actually castle your king instead, because that's a lot better move. But if white gets greedy and takes it, black can punish him by playing d takes e6. He has to take his d pawn, not his b pawn, or his plan won't work, as you'll see in a second. So if white takes the unguarded pawn, knight takes e5, he didn't notice the powerful queen d4. White's forced to move the knight back, after which black can regain the pawn. He has to be careful how he moves the knight back though, because if he moves it back to f3, white can get checkmated by queen takes f2 checkmate. So he has to move it back and defend the f2 pawns where he's being threatened checkmate. Luckily he can just about do this by moving knight d3. So he has to move knight safe and defend the checkmate. Then black can regain his pawn, knight takes e4. If white swaps the knights off, like knight takes e4, queen takes e4 check, black is in a winning position as his pieces are very active, bishop's about to come out, about to castle, connected rooks and got the bishop there, so it's a very good position for black, whilst white, all these pawns are stuck, the bishop's stuck, the king's in danger, and it's just a lot better position for black. So that's why if you're white and you play this type of position, you should castle on back on move 5, because that's the best move. Here we go. Back on move 5, instead of taking a knight and being greedy, you should castle. So now let's look at the other way black can defend the threat of bishop takes, knight, pawn takes, and knight takes. This is a d6. With this move, black directly defends the pawn on e5 of his other pawn and doesn't have to worry about it being taken. It isn't as strong as bishop c5, however, as white can play bishop takes c6 check, stopping the knight for the bishop, b takes c6, and in this position, black has doubled pawns, which means this is weak, and also so white can target these pawns, although black can move his rook to b8, so it's about equal, but white has more pieces developed and black has a weak pawn, so white is has a slight advantage, but not too much, and it should probably with best play be a draw. And yeah, but that's the bad defense, because black has a slight disadvantage, but with bishop c4, bishop c5, sorry, that black can completely punish white if he decides to take the knight and try win the pawn. So that's a lot better. So yeah, so now you know that in this position you have to, if black plays bishop c5, you have to castle. But if black doesn't play either, then yeah, he has to play both. Yeah, he has to play one of those two. And you now, if you're on both sides, white, you now have to punish d6, take the knight, and for black, if you know that in this position you should move the bishop to c5. Now let's look at the other move you could have played back at knight f6, because there was another move. This move is actually not very strong, but I'll show you why in a second. So bishop c4, instead of moving the bishop to b5, you only move it to c4. It actually attacks the pawn on f7, which is only defended by the king. This is called the Italian variation, and although it's very popular, it's actually a bad move because of the stunning sacrifice, knight takes e4. White has two moves in this position. The obvious move is, oops, I accidentally went all the way to the bottom, ignore that. The obvious move is knight takes e4. White has won a knight for a pawn. He is winning by 2 and looks on plots to win the game. But in this position, black can show the power of pawns and play d5. White's knight and bishop are forked. White cannot save both. He can either play bishop d3 or bishop takes d5. So if he plays bishop takes d5, white takes a pawn in compensation for their bishop. But then queen takes d5, taking the bishop, attacking the knight. Knight c3, moving knight away and attacking black's queen. Queen d8. In this position, black is winning, as the bishops are both ready to move out, and black has a pawn controlling the centre. The bishop pair is also more powerful than the knight pair in open positions like these. So I said that he had two moves in this position. No, sorry. Yeah, after black plays d5, he can either play bishop takes d5, which we looked at, or he can play bishop d3. This move is ready to take the pawn when it takes the knight, so if d takes e4, bishop takes e4, taking the pawn. In this position, black is stronger because both their bishops are ready to move out, whilst white's dark spread bishop is stuck behind the pawn. Also, black is controlling the tens with their e5 pawn. So, yeah, so there we go. That's a lot stronger position for black, no matter if black plays bishop, white plays bishop takes d5 or bishop to d3. So that's quite bad. Obviously, yeah. Trying to find where my next notes are. I oh no, we've gone onto the wrong thing. Sorry, the chess.com has laid my notes out very weirdly. I'll find my notes in a second. So knight takes e4. Ah, here we go. So white has two moves. We just looked at what happens if white plays knight takes e4, and he gives in to having a worse position, as we saw. Or white can play the very interesting bishop takes f7 check. White adds more confusion to the white. Sorry, I'm just going to pause the video for a second because we've had commotion outside. But I'll come back in a second. Hello. I am now back. The commotion is over. So we were on bishop takes f7 check instead of just taking knight. So white adds more confusion to the position by sacrificing their position to get the king in the open. Even though this move looks crazy, it makes sense, as white will lose a bishop or a knight for pawn anyway, so he may as well do it while spinning back to king in the open. So black has to take, king takes f7, and then knight takes e4. White takes the knight to make sure they don't fall behind on material. d5. Because white's bishop is no longer there, this isn't a fork, but it gives black lots of central control and kicks a knight away. Then white can play knight eg5 check. The white knight escapes from the attack with a tempo, checking the black king, but black can just play king g8 and the king is relatively safe. In this position, black is winning due to the powerful bishop pair and two pawns controlling the centre. Black also has the nasty threat of e4. The white knight is attacked, and if the knight moves, he loses the other knight on g5. So now we've seen that both of the moves, bishop takes f7 check or knight takes e4, don't work. So the whole point of this was that bishop c4 is a bad move because whatever white plays, if black plays correctly, he will get an advantage somewhere. Okay, so after looking at all the different moves you can play in the opening, you're probably quite confused. But if you're white, if you play the King's Pawn opening, 4 knights game, these are the moves you should play, so you don't fall into traps from earlier in this video where I explained over here. So the normal King's Pawn opening, 1e5, knight f3, knight c6, knight c3, knight f6, both sides controlling the centre with their knights. Then we have bishop b5, the Spanish variation. Remember, we shouldn't play bishop c4, the Italian variation, because it leads to black having a better position. So then remember we had bishop c5 as the best defense, and then we also realized that now we shouldn't be greedy and try to take the knight and win the pawn, so instead we should castle. And from now on you can probably have a normal game and both sides have equal chances, but if black tries to kick away the bishop with a6, you still shouldn't take the knight. You should go bishop a4, and even though the bishop looks in the corner, it's actually quite powerful. It's got a nice diagonal here. And if black tries to play b5 to kick completely out the bishop, you can play bishop b3, and suddenly he's got a really long diagonal, and it's actually really placed as it attacks a weak f7 square, like in the Italian variation. But unlike the Italian variation, black cannot play knight takes e4 because it won't be a pin anymore because the bishop's here on b3, not c4. So it's actually white has a lot better position than black. If black's determined to trap the knight and try play a5 and a4 with this pawn, which would take 2 moves and take ages, so that they're just wasting moves and you should definitely not play them. Then white can just play bishop to d5, putting the bishop right in the centre where it's completely untouchable and it's in a very strong position. Yep, so that's what we should play if we're white in this position, and if you're black, then remember you can play normal developing moves like d6, bishop to g4, and moves like that to just improve your position. And also you need to remember, if you're black, how to punish white if he doesn't play the right moves. For example, if he takes a knight or something like that, then you need to remember the moves to punch white. Thank you for watching this video. There are also lots of other moves at the beginning of the chess game, which I will cover later in this course. Thank you for watching part 1 of this course. Feel free to rewatch parts of the video if you didn't understand anything. Bye for now.